want to start the live event. Yes.
We live?
Yeah, we're live.
We're live. Okay, cool.
For real, we're live.
Okay. Hello, guys. Welcome to the first workshop of 2020 held by MSA. This workshop is about Git and GitHub. In this workshop, we'll learn about the basics of Git and GitHub. We'll also learn about some of the advanced features, and we will also do some practice so we can really understand what Git and GitHub is all about. Before we jump into the workshop, let me just first talk a little bit about the MSA program. It's an awesome program. I did MSA last year. I got an internship at Datacom. I made a lot of new friends, met a lot of awesome people, and had a lot of fun. I hope you can get an internship through this program. MSA is run by students. So it's sort of a program that is organized by the students for the students. So that's it for the MSA program. So we have two workshops before the start of phase one. The first workshop is today, the Git one, and the second workshop is on the 13th of June, so next month. The next workshop is going to be about the basics of HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So you guys can get a basic understanding of a little bit of web development before the start of phase one. Cool. With that being said, let's jump into the workshop. Cool. You can see me on the left. My name is Pankaj. I go to University of Auckland. I'm currently studying maths and computer science. I really like maths. A lot of people hate it, but yeah, that's how it is. Cool. On the left, we have Ryan.
Yo, what's up? My name is Ryan. I go to AUT. I study Bachelor of Computer Information Science. Yeah, here to help you with Git.
Cool. Cool. Thank you, Ryan. Cool. Looking for the tools. For this workshop, we will be using VS Code and GitHub Desktop. You can use any code editor, your favorite code editor, either it's Sublime, it's Atom, even Notepad. You can use Notepad for this workshop, but we're just gonna use VS Code. For the GitHub client, we're going to use GitHub Desktop. There are many other GUI clients that you can use, but for this workshop, we're going to use GitHub Desktop. Cool. So looking at the plan for this workshop, first we'll learn about what is Git, then we'll learn about what is GitHub. Afterwards, we learn about the basics of Git and GitHub. Then we learn about some of the advanced feature of GitHub, like pull request. Then we'll do some practice, so you can really understand all the stuff that we just learned. And afterwards, we will have a extra for expert session where we will show you what there is to learn, like what else there is to learn if you really like this thing. Cool. So what is Git? Well, Git is essentially a version control system that helps you keep track of changes in a folder. It stores a complete history of all the changes that you have made to your project folder and allows you to easily revert or just peek back in time what you did. And yep, so like Git is all about version control. But what exactly is version control? Well, version control pretty much means that it stores a history of all the versions that you had. So it records line by line or character by character changes of your code base. So you can easily go back in time and see what you did when your code was working. Well, you might be wondering, can't I just use the classic version control, that is, make a new copy of the project when you add a new feature and name them systematically? Well, there are a couple of issues with this approach. The first issue being, this only works for very small solo projects. This occupies a lot of space as we are copying the same piece of code again and again. The naming convention usually deteriorates over time, and it starts looking like, so like initially we start with initial project, added the nav bar if you're making a website, added the footer, changed the theme, but real soon it starts to become like final version 2, final for real, and you can't really tell which changes you made in which folder. Moreover, this approach is not feasible for medium and large size projects. This approach is also not feasible when you start to work in a team. You can imagine how you could keep track of all the changes if you are using this folder-based approach. This doesn't really work. Git solves all these problems. It provides a lot of additional features that you can use to help do version control. So that was pretty much Git. So let's talk about GitHub. Well, GitHub is nothing but a Git repository hosting service. It lets you host your Git repository so that you can share your code with your team or the wider world. GitHub also provides some of its own features like fork, pull request, access control, and more. We will talk about some of these features in this workshop. Cool. So what are the basics of Git? In this workshop, we will learn about repository, commit, and branch. Repository is not really a feature of Git, but it's really important to understand what repository is before we can learn about Git. So what is a repository? Well, repository is nothing but a storage location for a code base. There are two kinds of repository, a local repository and a remote repository. So what is a remote repository? If you go to the GitHub page for this workshop, you will see this. Well, this is a repository. This is a remote repository. If this repository is sitting on GitHub, you all can access it over the internet. Therefore, it's a remote repository. So what is a local repository? So a folder on your computer is a local repository. This might be a project folder, your website folder, or any folder at all. It's a local repository. So what's the difference between local and remote repository? I mean, a lot of people can access a remote repository like the GitHub one, but only you can access the local repository that cause it's sitting on your computer. This person can't access your local repository because he or she doesn't have access to your computer. So that is the main reason difference between local and remote repository. Cool. So what is a commit? Okay, so when we are playing a game, let's say you're playing a game, okay, and you're making progress through the game. We always like to save our progress, so we just do a quick save every now and then. So if something goes wrong, we can easily go back to that save point. Well, commit is exactly like a save point. What commit does, it takes a snapshot of your code at that particular time. And then if something goes wrong in the future, you can easily go back to that save point. So let's say this is your initial commit. You start your project, you add a new feature, and then you start adding something else over here. But then you mess up. Well, you can just go back to this save point that you made and start working from there if you can't fix the mess you made over here. Well, if you didn't have this save point, you would have to fix the bug you had, or you would have to start the whole project from the start. So it's really important to commit, that is, save your code on a regular basis. So that is essentially what a commit is. Commit is just a save point for your code. Now, what is a branch? Okay, so when we create a repository, it automatically makes a branch that is called a master branch. You can see the master branch over here. So this branch generally represents the stable version of your code. That is, the code that usually works. So this branch represents the code that actually works. So we wouldn't want to try out a new feature on this branch, as it represents the published version or the code that works, as we might break something while working on this new feature. What we really want to do is create some sort of isolated environment or isolated version of the current code, so we can try out this new feature on this isolated version of the code. And if we like it, we can merge it back in. This is essentially what branching is all about. So this is your master branch. This represents the code that actually works. you add a new feature, you make a separate branch for that, and then you test out all the functionality of this feature on this branch. All the commits that you do on this branch, that is all the save points that you make on this branch, wouldn't affect the master branch because you're working on the separate branch. And then when you're satisfied with all the progress that you have made with this feature, you can add this functionality to the master branch. Over here, you have made sure that this function actually works. And then when you add it to the master branch, you can be sure that it wouldn't break anything. And your master branch would always be the branch that represents the code that actually works. So that's branching. Well, branching is even more important if you're working in a team. Let's say if you're working in a team and you're not using branching, then you would only have one branch that is your master branch, which would be the middle one. So let's say you're working on one feature and your friend over here is working on another feature. You both would be committing to the same master branch, and you would step on each other's code, maybe change the code that is written by somebody else, and wouldn't know that he or she needed that code. So to resolve this, you can make two separate branches. So you make a branch that represents your work, and this other person can make another branch that represents his or her work. Over here, you make these commits. You make these save points on your own branch. This wouldn't affect the code that this other person is writing. So you develop this new feature and you add it back into the master. This person develops his or her own feature separately and then adds it back to the master. By doing this, you save a lot of time and effort. So yeah. So that is all what branching is all about. So that's it for the basics of Git. Now we'll look into the basics of GitHub. For GitHub, we'll look into what is cloning, what is git push and git pull, and lastly we'll look at what is a fork. So what is cloning? Well, cloning essentially means downloading a remote repository to your computer. So this is a remote repository, and this is a remote repository. If you download this repository to your local machine, that is essentially called cloning. Well, it is almost cloning. When you clone a repository onto your local machine, what you do is you download the remote repository to your local computer. But when you download that repository, it comes. It has already been initialized in this repository, so you can start committing your changes. If you just downloaded it normally, Git wouldn't come pre-initialized in the file that you download, and then you would have to tell the computer that I want to use Git on this downloaded folder. So that's the main difference between downloading and cloning. So, but cloning essentially means that you download a remote repository to your local machine. You can see over here, this is your remote repository, and all these contributors just download the repository onto their local machine. Now, what is git push? Well, git push is just uploading your changes from your local repository to the remote repository. Let's say you just cloned this remote repository to your local computer. You made some changes and you saved those changes. That is, you committed those changes. But those changes are sitting on your local machine, not on the remote one, which is this one. So other people can't see the work that you did. Well, how would you show that what changes you made to other people? Well, you would use the command called git push. When you do git push, what you do is you push or upload all the changes that you have made on your local repository to the remote one. So you just push all the changes to this repository. So that is what git push is. Now, what is git pull? Well, let's say you cloned it, you cloned the remote repository, you made some changes, and you pushed it back. Well, this other person has an older version of the repository, and he or she can't see the changes that you made because he or she cloned the repository before you pushed it back. So what he or she can do is they can just pull the changes that you made to the remote repository to the local repository. So git pull essentially means that downloading the changes or commit that have been dumped to the remote repository to the local one. So that is what git pull is. Now, what is a fork? Let's say you're looking at this GitHub repository. This is the code base for this website. You're looking at this website, and you really like this website, and you want to make this website your own, but this repository belongs to somebody else. So what you can do is you can use the fork functionality of GitHub. So when you press fork, what it does, it makes a copy of this repository onto your local computer. Oh, I'm sorry. It makes a copy of this repository on your GitHub account. From there, you can make all the changes that you want to make to this repository, because now you own the repository because it's in your GitHub account. Previously, it was owned by somebody else. Therefore, you couldn't make the changes that you wanted to make because you didn't have access to make these changes. But now, after you have forked this repository into your own GitHub account, now you have all the access that you need, and you can make the changes that you want. Let's say you wanted to change the theme of this website. Now you can change the theme of this website. So that is essentially what fork is: a personal copy of another person's repository. That is a fork. So that was all for the basics of GitHub. Now let's look at an advanced feature that is known as pull request. A pull request is just a request that you send to someone to review the changes that you have made. Well, there are two types of pull requests, between two different branches and between two different repos. Let's talk about the one that is between two different repos. So right now, we just forked this repository into our own GitHub account, and let's say we change the theme. But now you want the original owner of this repository to see those changes, and you want these changes to be visible on this site. So what you can do is you can send a request to the original owner that I made these changes. Do you like these changes? And if this person likes these changes, they can accept your request, and those changes would be added to this website. So that is what a pull request is between two repositories. First, you fork the repository, then you make changes, then you send a request to the original owner of the repository, and if this person likes these changes, they can just accept it, and these changes would come up to the original repository. So that is the pull request between two repositories. Now, what is pull request between two branches? Well, let's go back to over here. This is your master branch. You make a separate branch, and you are working on some feature that you want to see in the master branch. You start working on the feature, you develop it, and now you're done. You think you have developed enough, and now you want to add this feature to the master branch. But before you add it to the master branch, let's say you want to make sure that all the teammates, all your teammates are satisfied with the feature that you made. So you can use the feature pull request over here. So what you do is you send a request to all your teammates. And if all your teammates approve this feature, then this feature would be added to the master branch. The usefulness of sending a pull request is that if you made some mistake or you couldn't see a bug, maybe your teammates can. And by doing this, you can always make sure the master branch represents the version of the code that actually works. So that is what a pull request is between two branches. Cool. So that was it. Now we'll do some practice. Cool. It's on you, Ryan. Ryan?
Yep. Oh, sorry, I was just replying to the last one. Someone said, so by any chance, can I get a copy of the slides afterwards? Yes, right now. I will be posting the link. Oh, yeah.
The slides are on GitHub, so you can just download them from there.
Yep. So as we switch over, I've just got to start up my stream. Can you, Can you post the link?
Oh, yeah, sure. Wait, have you taken over?
I will be taking over in 1 second. Cool. They've taken over now.
Taking over now? Cool. Awesome.
All right. So here we have the GitHub repo. So it'll be in the chat as well as you can see the link up here. So either click on the chat link or navigate here now, and we'll get started in a few minutes. But as mentioned before, there are a couple of programs you're going to need. Namely, you're going to need Git installed, going to need GitHub Desktop as the application we're going to use, and I'm going to use Visual Studio Code. However, anything can be used here. Any text editor, really. Yeah, we'll just give a couple minutes for that. But yeah, today we're just going to go through everything that you just heard theory-wise, and we're going to apply it here. So I will be following along in real time, and we'll wait till 2:25. So if you have any more questions, just put them in the chat now and answer those. I can't see the chat at the moment, so if you see any questions come up, can you announce me? All right, here's just be me. Can't see any fresh questions, but yeah, just click the announcement and good to go. So give 1 more minute for that. Yeah, cool. We'll get started. So step 1 was once you've got everything installed, all you have to do is navigate to this link and click the fork button. So I'm going to press fork. And for me, I'm part of multiple different organizations, so I just click on my personal username. If you're not part of other organizations, it should just come up with your username only or automatically decide. So just make sure you click your username here. And it'll take a second to transfer it to your cloud repo. So here we are. To make sure that you're in the correct area, it should have your username up in the top left, not MSA. So it says forked from NZMSA rather than just being on the MSA one. So just be careful there, otherwise you'll have some issues with doing the next step. So these will be good for after. You can join our Discord and have a look at our website. Now, we've cloned the repository and we want to create a new text file. So we want to clone it, open, and desktop. So if you've got GitHub Desktop installed, then GitHub on the web can just automatically talk to it. So I can just click open in desktop and I'm good to go. Right. So for everyone else, you would clone that, but I forgot that I made the repo. So I can't clone into a repo that already exists on my local computer. All right. So, step, create a new text file. Okay. So to do that, I'm gonna click Open in Visual Studio Code. So I have Visual Studio Code opened, installed, sorry. So if you have that installed, you'll see this button here, or whatever text editor you're using. I've used this with Atom before and other text editors. GitHub usually can just detect what you have installed. So I'm going to click Open there. And you're following along for GitHub, desktop, and VS Code. All you have to do is right-click in this area, and I'm going to press New File. I'm going to call it my first name and last name.txt. There's quite a few of you in here today, so just make sure that you call it something unique. I would advise just to use your name, but you don't have to put your whole last name. Just put something to differentiate it, because I imagine there'll be quite a few Ryans and quite a few other same names here today. Cool. I'll just have a look at the repo. We'll see status is like. So we've got 26 forks. There's 4 of you in attending today. I've only got 26 forks. And somehow 6 of you have forked it off my one. Okay, I'm not sure how to check these 6 people. But if you forked it from, if you're, if everyone just checks, and if you sees you forked it from Dovey, then go back to the NZMSA one and fork it from there. Otherwise, you might run into some issues later on. But yeah, looking good. All right, 27. I think once we get to 30, we'll go. If you're having any trouble, then just post in the Q&A and we can help you out. Otherwise, 28. Give you guys checking A, seeing that you forked it from my one instead of NZMSA. Oh, 29. Okay. Go from here. So what we have is we've created a text file and add one line about your favorite studying snack. So my favorite studying snack when I'm at uni, probably stational chicken chips. Cool. That'll be my first one. So add one line, and then you can go into your GitHub desktop application and see that it's already automatically detected your change. So what we can do now is you can commit your changes. So down the bottom left, for some people, it will not automatically fill this box, so then commit will be grayed out. And you can just add something up here in the required field to have it work. So my one is automatically detecting that I've created a text file, so it will just allow me. I'll just commit that. And then if you have another look at the status, it's gone. So the change that you made in your file hasn't been deleted, it's actually been committed. So what you can do to have a look at that is you can go into the history tab, and here it is. So here is your commit. So this has been pushed into your repo, locally, that is. So now we just want to add another change. So come back into your text file. Second instruction was your favorite color. My favorite color is blue. So I'll add a new line that says blue, and we'll commit that. So as said again, you can see in the changes, added favorite Oh. Then the third line. Oh, my favorite song. Oh, what's my favorite song? Oh, we'll have Baby by Justin Bieber. Now, coming to the end, so all you want to do is you want to commit your change and press push origin. So you can press the push origin here or up here, and it will push that into the cloud. So now what you want to do is you want to come back on to the repo, your repo online. So make sure that it's got your username in the correct position, and you want to go onto it. So github.com/your username. So you're going to have to change that /intro to git, and then there should be a new pull request button. So what you want to do is you want to click that pull request button. So this will be your first pull request if you're new to Git, but it's pretty simple. So all you want to do is you want to open that pull request and merge it in to the NZMSA fork. And then what Punk and Jedi can do is we can accept those, and then you'll be pushed into our master branch in the cloud. So that will be shown here if all goes well. So let's just refresh here, and we should see some pull requests, hopefully, if some of you got that far ahead. Awesome, we're up to 35 forks. So in a couple of minutes, because we've got a stream delay on. So hopefully once I'm up to that stage, then you guys will be ready. But I'm going to go press pull request. Oh, I did it the wrong way. All right, so for you guys, it'll show pull request. I accidentally pushed straight into master, but for you guys, it won't be an option as you're not super admin on this GitHub repo. But if you want a quick demo of that, that'll work. Okay. So we'll just wait a second. Hopefully, okay, I can see 4 pull requests. Awesome. Guys, so all I'm going to do in here is I'm going to press merge pull request, and then you'll be merged in. Pankaj, if you want to come in here as well, you can help me just click all these. We're going to have 40 of these flying in. And have a look. What you'll see is you'll see all of your text files starting to pop up in the NZMSA repo. So if you look at that, you can see in here the text files are starting to come in. And the commits are starting to fly up because for every pull request we merge, we're getting 3 commits. So we should have quite a few by the end of this. Oh, I got one. Yeah, that's a thing on GitHub. If you both press merge at the same time, oh, he's too quick. He's too quick. Getting in before I can even load the page. All right. So I have a few questions. Okay. So if you're having authentication errors, generally that can be because of your GitHub OAuth. That can be quite finicky. I've had problems with it. there's different problems whether you're on Mac or on Windows as well. So that can be a bit of trouble. But if you need some help, we'll be in the Discord for a little bit after the session, so we'll be able to help you out one-on-one if you need it. And if you just want to ask any questions personally, then just come along. Generally, after all our sessions, we just jump in the chat rooms. I had a really good chat with about 10 people after the launch event, so feel free to just come along and good. But straight after this, after the live session, so we'll sort this out for a while. After this, we've got a Kahoot coming up, and I'll take you through some more advanced features of Git as well if you want to learn that. All right, let's have a look at the code base. So don't worry if you're still merging in. We've got a few more minutes. The Kahoot will estimate it's going to take about 10 minutes or 10, 15, and then got about 10 minutes of sort of more relaxed slides just talking about some of the stuff, but it's more practical than slides, I guess, because we'll be showing some hands-on code as well. So that's what we've got planned for the rest of the session. And all right, so we've had 12 pull requests, but we've got 35 forks. So all of you still working on it? Yeah, so way more than half of you still working on it. So we'll just stay for a bit, but can't see any new questions. So if you're getting stuck or you've got any issues, then definitely ask in the Teams Q&A. We can help you out. One of the biggest issues I had when I set up Git for the first time, if you've installed GitHub Desktop but not Git, sometimes it won't allow you to do anything. And then other times, sometimes if you install Git, you have to re-log in, but hopefully that won't be today. Sometimes both on Windows and Mac, the path file isn't set properly during the install. It has to be set during like a restart, but hopefully not today. So if anyone's running into that issue, then I have a few other tricks that we could try before you have to restart. Cool, 4 more pull requests coming in. Oh, awesome, 5. All right, yeah, looking good, guys. Oh, all right. Looks like they're flying in now. Cool, congratulations everyone who's done their first pull request today. Hopefully we don't have, for your uni projects and your MSA projects, we don't have folders all over your desktop, version 1, version 2, version 3, final release for real anymore. Now you can all use Git. I know that if you have a Git education account as well, that you can get private repos for free, so you don't have to worry about people having a gaze at your assignments. So I have like a bunch of private repos just as a student account. So definitely sign up for that. You get heaps of other stuff as well. So definitely recommend signing up for the GitHub student pack. Get time. Cool. All right, a lot of you in there. 75 commits so far, but we've had 18 out of 35 pull requests come back in. I think I'll only get 34 because I messed my one up. But wait for a few more people. Okay. I think once we get to we finish 20 people, then we'll start the Kahoot. And then for everyone else, we can come and help you after the Kahoot. So don't worry about it. It's a pretty chill thing. So if you just need some help, then we can come help you after. And go. All right, these are my last two before we start the Kahoot. Oh, fast. Actually, Pankaj, what do you think? Should we run the Kahoot at the end? Like, should I go through some of the more advanced content first, and then we'll just quickly do the Kahoot at the end, or what do you think?
Yeah,
Because
sure.
I feel bad. I feel bad if I cut some people off, from working, we make them do the Kahoot, and then go back to working. I might throw them off. So,
yeah.
Yeah, I'll quickly throw the slides back up, and want to present here. Play button. He's got a weekend brain on. I actually can't find the button to press play. There we go. Play from current slide. Cool. So here we are. So I'm just going to go through some harder stuff. Talk about what just happened with the pull request. Something you may or may not have noticed that I added for this thing, and then what it means to push upstream, which is what you've actually just done. This is just a recap and an explanation of what's just happened in the live demo. So then we're going to go through some branching techniques as well. So Git feature flow is a Git branching technique. What that means is it's a way of using Git in an efficient way to help your team or help yourself in a project. So there are 1,000,001 different branching techniques. So I'm going to go through Git feature flow today. There's also Git flow. There's also the classic just smash it all and master. That's what most people do when they first start Git. So they go from making version folders on their desktop to putting random commits into master. Yeah, I'm definitely guilty of that, but we all start somewhere. So I'm going to teach you Git feature flow today. That is what I've been using for my teams for a couple of years now at uni and at work as well. So the benefits of using feature flow are that it allows you to keep a clean master / release branch at all times, so that if you've got customers or other people using your websites or products, that no matter what you're playing around with, the master branch is always ready to be downloaded and ready to be used. Obviously with branching, but more specifically with this sort of tooling, you can collaborate without stepping on each other's toes, as Pankaj said earlier. So, I can be messing around with things and it doesn't affect anyone else. And it allows you to create branches to try things out, same thing as well. And this is sort of the highest benefit to lowest difficulty ratio that I can find of any branching strategy that I've ever taught. So that's usually why I use it in all my teams. I mean, honestly, there are better solutions that I would prefer to use, but generally, most people are used to different things. I've never walked into a team where everyone's been using the same Git branching strategy in the past, so you have to settle on one, and this has been the easiest one for everyone to pick up, in my experience. So, and it has most of the benefits, like best benefits of using Git. So that's why I'm teaching it today. It's got a very low difficulty ratio compared to some of the other strategies, but it's got all the benefits of all of the main strategies. So we'll continue. But to understand this, you have to know what I'm about to show you on screen. And that's a network graph. So basically, GitHub and most Git clients will produce a network graph for you. And that is a chronological graph of when things were committed, pushed, merged, branched off, forked. It shows you a timeline of when changes were made. On GitHub, it reads left to right. I've seen on different Git clients, it reads bottom to top. So top is new and bottom is old. I've never seen one right to left, but maybe there is, and we'll continue. So for the graph I'm about to show you, it'll go left to right. This is what it would look like if you smash it all in master. So your 4 changes would just go 1, 2, 3, 4, and it's simple as that. Git feature flow for a solo developer. Honestly, if this is your first time doing it, it might just look like this. It might just look like you have your master branch on release 1 and release 2, and then you make your commits in a different branch, and then it just merges back in. But obviously, as the sole developer, you're only doing one thing at a time, and it's pretty much the same as this. So where the strengths sort of come in is if you're working on multiple branches at the same time, multiple features, or you're fixing a bug and working on a feature at the same time, or you've got multiple people on the team. And then it can start to look like this. And when your project starts looking like this, you really need a robust branching system, and you're going to need a good solution. You're going to need something better than just smash it all in master. It's a lot to keep track of. That is why, loosely, why the pull request system exists. So if we take a look at this, at the top level, we have the release branches. So every time something's pushed into it, it creates a new release. So if we see release 1, release 1, release 1, release 2. So release 2 was created when the B branch merged into master, and it created release 2 with a B feature. Straight after that, we have release 3, where the A branch merged into release 3. And then we have release 4 right at the end, when the C branch merged into release 4. What can happen is, if you look on the left, on the C branch was created from an origin of release 1. But when it merged into master, it put its code on top of release 3. So that was the A changes and the B changes. So if any code changes were changed in C and A and B, you're going to have a merge conflict. So that's essentially unavoidable when you're working together. But what it means is 2 people touch the same file, and Git doesn't know whose changes to keep. So Git, I've seen it do amazing things with refactoring and moving code around. It can understand quite a lot. I've also seen it when I've deleted a space and then put a space back, but my space is different because my space is a Mac space, and then the other guy was using Windows. So if you breathe on the file wrong, sometimes it'll tell you you've got an empty merge conflict or a big merge conflict, and sometimes it'll just figure it out by itself. That's just sort of the reality of it, but it's a really awesome tool if you've both touched the same file. It gives all the control to the developer managing the pull request, and sort that out at the time. So what that looks like here, so see down the bottom, 2 different people have changed the same line. GitHub doesn't know which change to keep. So the developer managing that pull request gets to decide, are we going to have we are all authors star zap part or star zap sparkles? And that's just up to the developer at the time. So that's loosely how merge conflicts are managed. But yeah, there can be a lot going on, especially when you get into more advanced projects. And as you go through the program, you might have to deal with some complexity like that. So these different tools can help you, especially if you're working in a team. And there are different things that can help you with your merge conflicts. So if we take another look at this graph, we have a very busy network graph. But something you may not have noticed is a pull request template. So that is something I snuck into the Git repo that you may not have noticed. And this is where you can put in point number 2, merge master into my branch before making a pull request. So if we go back to the example with merge conflict, generally you don't want to be having bugs in your release or your master branch. So what you can do is, if we look at this, C2 should have pulled release 3 into C2 and then made release 4. So therefore, the C branch developer could have fixed any potential merge conflicts before they hit the master branch, because you don't want conflicts and you don't want errors happening in the master branch. You can have them in your development branches, sort them out in your dev branches, and then push them into master. So this is something I put in all my teams. Now, I always say merge master into my branch before making a pull request. And it saved me and my projects a lot of hassle. And I mean, there's things, everyone makes mistakes. I always forget one of the 3 steps when making a pull request, so it's good to just have that text come up. You can have other things like telling people to attach their Trello link and putting a spot for that. So for their Trello cards, if you're using Kanban, but there's an infinite number of things you can do with a PR template. But we'll just have a quick look, and I'll see what's going on the repo. Awesome, 102 commits. So we've had 26 pull requests and 35 forks, so 10 more to go. But I'll show you what a template is, if I can find it. One walkies on me. They're showing half the files. There's readme.md. Not getting pull request.md. Curious. But basically, on GitHub, if we look at the readme.md file, this is a special file in GitHub where it uses Markdown language, so you can have titles and other things and links and images. And also what it allows you to do is have a pull request template. So no idea where it's gone, but I'll create a new one for you guys right now. Yeah, it's in my local branch, so unsure what happened to it. But if you saw this message, which you should have when you open your pull request, it says, well done for making it this far, press merge pull request, and I'll receive your changes. The owner of the repo must accept these changes, so I'll accept them soon. These are just 3 lines, and basically, if you name it pull underscore request underscore template, then it will show up in your repo. And every time anyone tries to merge or pull request your into your repo, then it will show this message to them. So generally, I put something like add Trello / Jira card, just so I know what to look at when I'm doing a code review. merge master into your branch, and just a little message at the end. Or you can have any number of things. So this is just something you can agree with the team. But yeah, that's about us for making a pull request template. So it has to be this exact name, and then just the same as README has to be that exact name to show up here. So GitHub manages all that for you. That's pretty much us for the slides. I mean, we have one more things that might be good for you to learn as you're getting more advanced. So CI/CD, learning how to do code reviews, and GitHub Actions. But those will probably come naturally to you as you progress on your software journey. Cool. So if you still haven't got your pull request in, don't worry about it. I'll check them in the morning tomorrow. So if you get it any time today, then I'll put that through. But I think, yep, haven't got any questions. So I think we'll move on to the Kahoot. We've got a few prizes for this one today. So hopefully I don't delete anyone again like last time. And should be good. So if everyone just use a unique name and then take a screenshot of it to have proof that you're who you say you are, if you win, and come message us after, or come see us in the Discord, or message us on Facebook. All right, let's just switch over to the Kahoot. Play, post it. Cool, here we go. So we just had a question from someone. They can't follow the flow because they're a bit behind. Don't worry about it. If you want some extra help at the end, just come see us in the Discord. We'll be chatting in there. Or send us a message on Facebook. We'll get back to you. Yeah, I don't mind helping people one-on-one at the end. Definitely keen for that. So just come see us at the end after. Hey, catch you there?
Yep.
Sweet. Alright, yep, so just join the Kahoot and get started soon. So keep in mind there'll be a large delay as we're on Teams, so can we put a large delay on put the maximum time of the question?
Yep, it's max time.
Oh, hold on. I love Ryan. Yeah, me too. That's the best name. Best name done. Yeah, sorry about the resolution, guys. Got a 720p screen today. Having some problems with my screen, but hopefully it's all good. Alright, we'll wait a couple more minutes. There's about 40 people in here today, so and if you can't make it into the Discord as well, don't worry. We will be publishing this at some point this week. A video recording of it, as well as the slides are still available on GitHub, and the instructions and everything on GitHub. So we will still be accepting pull requests in the future for a while as well. full screen. Here we go. Right here. You know what? That'll be the next workshop. Alright, 29 players. Seems to slow down quite a lot, so that might be us. I think we'll start there. Oh, just in time, just in time. Alright, good. Gonna press start. Alright. So, 30 seconds. You guys can question. We'll all get it right. We just had a request. Can we turn the music down? I'll turn it down a little bit. After this question. So yeah, sorry if you didn't hear me when the music was loud. But if you need some one-on-one help or you've gotten stuck during the workshop, then just come see us in the Discord or send us a message on Facebook, and we'll all be happy to help you out. Don't mind taking one-on-one. Alright, we'll stop at 135. Oh, unlucky these guys, but everyone else got it, so on you. So we've got our top 3 at the moment. Pretty tight. All the guys with the fast internet, eh? A bit slower this time. Feel a little bit less sure. Okay, most of you getting it. 4 answers for clone. So a commit is where you can sort of save a snapshot of your code changes into your repo, and cloning is creating a copy of someone else's branch in the cloud to your hard drive. So, for example, if you see some code online and you want to play with it on your computer, you can press clone and it will download it to your computer. Whereas commit is just saving it to your repo. All right, who's on top? Oh, need to fail. On, come in second. You're going well. So we got our first, second, and third here. Good luck for the next question. GitHub website for. Two of you going for the really quick one. Just pressing the random button before you can read the question. Thirty more seconds. Oh, all right. So movies, all of the above. So GitHub is designed for storing code. While you can share movies and games on it technically, encoded files don't work on GitHub, so you wouldn't want to share a movie or a game on there compiled, because you'll be able to make changes. All right, who's on top? Oh, unlucky, ready to fail. See you later. Pretty good, and we'll keep going.
Yeah, I just noticed a typo in the question. It should be, what is the branch that is automatically created when we create a repo on GitHub?
Yeah. Oh yeah, I read that in my head. I was like, I didn't even notice it. All right, most of you getting it. Yeah, this is a bit of a tricky one. So for everyone who put blue, the master branch is always created on GitHub when you create a new repo, unless you have an organizational rule. But I've only ever seen that once. So generally, the master branch is created when you create a repo, because there has to be at least one branch that's created. But you can change the name of it. Deep dive into the settings. But yeah. And for people who put red, GitHub Pages is a way you can host a website for free on GitHub. But again, that's a different repo you have to create yourself. All right. Name 5 up the top. Hopefully this right person gets the prize. We've only got a couple more questions left. What is the next workshop? So you have to be paying pretty good attention for this one. Also, when? bet a lot of you quickly opening Facebook, Googling it right now. I said it right at the beginning. There will be 2 pre-phase workshops. This one's Git, and then the next one is... All right. All right. This is the one. This is the one that's going to separate it. Let's see who's winning. I'll wait for 2. That's one question. Give them to 150. Ah, too slow. Hey, all right. Most of you got it. So yep, 13th of June, 2 weeks. Yeah, hopefully we'll see you there. We know who's running that one? Whose name's down for that one?
It's Jason and somebody, Alex, yeah. Jason and Alex.
Jason. Oh, unlucky, down to 5th. Oh yeah, something that's just been pointed out to me. We've got 3 people tied for 3rd place, so this could be a really tight thing, and we've only got 1 point difference between the top 2, so hopefully you guys can get the next question. What's the next topic? Surely if you know the date, you know what it is. Cool. See. All right, most of you getting it as well. So yeah, so the pre-phase workshop is just a bit of HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, and then coming up soon in our actual phase 1 workshops will be React. So that is, I can see some people getting confused, but yeah, the next workshop where you'll see Pankaj and I is actually in the React workshop. So hopefully you'll come to that one as well. Our numbers. Okay, a little bit of change, but still 3 locked in here. Small change here. I think we've got 1 more question left. Good luck. Correct answers only.
Yeah, for the last question, there are no points.
Oh, there are no points?
Yep.
Okay. Right. All right. Go on. Awesome. Well, good luck. Good luck, everyone. For everyone who came third equal, send us a message and we'll see what's going on with that. So just take a screenshot of your score and everything. So I think there's just 2 of you that came third equal. Yeah, if you want to ask us some questions, then come into the Discord or send us a message on the Facebook page. I'll put up the Facebook link. The Discord link now. Hopefully, do I have a link? Pankaj, can you create a Discord invite link? Put that into the chat.
Yep, it's in the chat. It's already in the chat.
Cool. Yep, so that pretty much concludes the session today. So if you want to ask us some stuff, get some one-on-one help, then just pop into the Discord and we'll be in there for the next little bit. So, everyone.
Cool. Thanks, guys. Thanks for coming to this workshop. And we will see you on the React phase 1 videos. Cool. Later.